नन्दिनि नन्दिनि नन्दितमेदिनि विश्वविनोदिनि नन्दिनुते गिरिवरविन्द्यशिरोदिनि वासिनि विष्णुविलासिनि जिष्णुनुते भगवति हेशिति कण्ठकुटुम्बिनि भूरि कुटुम्बिनि भूरि कृते जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते सुरवरवर्षिणि दुर्धरदर्शिनि दुर्मुखमर्षिणि हर्षरते त्रिभुवनपोषिणि शङ्करतोषिणि किल्बिषमोषिनि घोषरते धनुजनि रोषिनि दितिशुकरोषिनि दुर्मथतोषिनि सिन्धुषुते जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते
Hi guys, thank you for joining the live stream. I hope the audio is coming fine. Let me know if it isn't. Today we have a fascinating paper to discuss. It's a paper from just last year, December 2023. It's by two very able, qualified, unbiased, fair academics, as far as I know, called Ritanjan Dash and Kenneth Nielsen. So since this is a pretty short paper, it's just a 7-page paper, but it's come out of the Rutledge publication, Rutledge. So we are first going to see what are the bios of these two scholars, okay? What other stuff they have done. So it's pretty fascinating. So let's check them out first. This is the name of the paper. First is Ritanjan Dash. So this is Ritanjan Dash. He's currently in Leiden Asia Center. This website is slow or my Google Chrome is slow? Yeah, the website is slow. Ritanjan Dash is a university lecturer in contemporary South Asian politics. Sorry, there's no scroll button. Okay, so contemporary South Asian politics at the Leiden University Institute of Area Studies. His primary area of interest is the political economy of development in contemporary India and South Asia. Ritanjan has conducted extensive ethnographic research in various parts of South Asia for close to 2 decades and has published on various facets of development politics and socioeconomic inequality in the region. So any day now he'll get a Nobel in economics, I think. Because as you all know, Nobel economics is all about developmental economics and development studies, and it's pretty much the go-to political slogan for every politician in India, no matter what the side of politics they choose. It's all about development of the development for the developing of the developmental economics of the developing country of India. So his most recent work explores questions of identity, sovereignty, marginalization, and democratic deficits in South Asia. He holds a PhD in, guess what, development studies from the London School of Economics and Political Science, from where our not our, I mean India's Nupur Sharma, the controversial Nupur Sharma, Jawaharlal Nehru, Ambedkar, all of them passed out of, and is a fellow of the UK Higher Education Academy. Nice, pretty qualified person. The other man is, can we check out some of his other publications? Let's see. Neoliberalism and the transforming left in India. Oh, ये paper भी एक दिन पढ़ना पड़ेगा. Oh, this is a 228-page book. Holy shit. This is a proper academic book. What other stuff has he written? Hey, I know. I can't remember how to check this. Oh, यहाँ पे ना दाएं तरफ. The politics of community making in new urban India, sovereignty, and this is Andrea Major. How to check out his other stuff. Get the book, publisher collection, more by the author. Yeah. Let's see. Politics. Oh, there's just one here. Okay, I guess he's a newcomer in the scene then. So maybe Nobel Prize in 10 years now. Developing the development of already developed countries by developing. So the other person is Kenneth Bo Nielsen. Let's check out his work. Excuse me. So this is Mr. Nielsen. Where is he currently? Department of Social Anthropology, the field of study in which Declan Quigley etc. are. So he's from Norway. Aha, a Viking descendant. Yes, Nielsen. So at some point in his ancestry, some person was called Neil, and their son was called Nielsen. Their son's surname was Nielsen, and then on it became a surname. Maybe after they converted to Christianity. So, Associate Professor, Department of Social Anthropology, where? University of Oslo. Oh my God, it's the capital of Norway. It's probably my favorite country in the world. Maybe second favorite. Yeah, I think Scotland and Norway are my top two favorite countries. Uh, let's see. Anything else here? No, let's check out some of his other stuff, okay? Okay, check out his stuff. Land dispossession and everyday politics in rural Eastern India. Land dispossession meaning when people have to get rid of, I mean, or let's say part with their land with or without their consent, because the country wants to develop. Contesting India's development, industrialization, land acquisition, and protest in West Bengal. Hmm. When is this from? This is from 2010. Guys, uh, this paper is from 2010, okay? 2010. The topic is contesting India's development, industrialization, land acquisition, and protest in West Bengal. Retro Universe is saying, I've been to Scotland in 2016. It's like Dhaka, but with specks of white people, and the weather is despicable. Thankfully, I have not been to Dhaka, but I'm mainly talking about the St. Andrew's place. No? I'm mainly a fan of that place and that university, etc. So, uh, law struggles and hegemonic processes in neoliberal India. Gramscian reflections on land acquisition legislation. When is this from? Okay, many papers on land acquisition and the evils of land acquisition, the evils of a developing country doing development, law struggles and hegemonic processes. Great. This is from 2015. Okay, 2010. Women, gender, and everyday social transformation in India. Let's see this. When's this from? 2014. Yeah. So of course, huge women and gender and everyday social transformations happened in 2014. Agrarian crossroads, rural aspirations, and capitalist transformation. 2020. The politics of caste in Bengal. Oh, let's see. Everyone has something to say. Some interesting thing to say about caste in Bengal. Let's see what's his ideas. Um, Nothing, no abstract here, right? Unfortunately. Okay. This is from 2015. Okay, then. So back to this page. India's new coal geography, coastal transformations, imported fuel and state business collaboration in the transition to more fossil fuel energy. The rise and fall of the people's star, middle class aspirations, status, and mobile symbolism in New India from 2015. The politics of caste in India's new land wars, 2020. Staying cool, looking good, moving around. Consumption, sustainability, and the rise of the South, 2016. Social movement, state formation, democracy in India, and an introduction um, from 2016. Industrializing rural India, land policy, and resistance, 2016. The importance of caste in Bengal, 2012. Love Jihad. This is from 2021. Love Jihad and the governance of gender and intimacy in Hindu nationalist statecraft, 2021. Cars, automobile mobility and development in Asia, 2016. Law and okay, no, I thought something else. Law and Ladai, the judicialization of subaltern resistance in West Bengal, 2015. Subaltern resistance in West Bengal, the dejudicialization of it. Interesting topics. development deadlock in Andhra Pradesh, Hindu nationalist statecraft, and Modi's authoritarian populism. What does the word authoritarian populism mean? What is it supposed to mean according to English grammar? I mean, I'm so popular that I do authoritarian things against everyone's will who are my supporters. Let me just Google this meaning. This is like electoral autocracy. Uh, authoritarian populism meaning. Let's see what this says. The terrifying rise of authoritarian populism. Holy shit. Okay, see there's no actually any Google, I mean at least grammatical meaning definition given of this term. Is, I guess, a randomly made up term. It means you are not cutter ideological person. Okay, so what other stuff has he written? So many publications, man. How are people who don't write enough or haven't even, I mean, don't write anything, or have not read any of these stuff, are going to win a narrative war? Regional identity politics of India's new land wars, law struggles, lawmaking, Hindu nationalist statecraft. Okay, so we are going to check out any more. Look at his citations. Holy shit, 1413 citations, man. For a social scientist, this is very 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 high. Oh my god. Okay, so now let's get to today's paper. After that, we will check out some other stuff by his by these people maybe. Literally, second article has the meaning. You missed it. Oh yeah, who is citing him? I'm Shastri is asking. Avinav is saying, I to now use Perplexity instead of Google now. Uh, let's check out what he has said about our possibly future Chief Minister Abhishek Banerjee. Where did my paper go? Are ruko bhai. I think I closed the paper. Lol. Yeah, thankfully it's open here. Okay, so now I'll put this on the top monitor and I'll bring down the paper here. Let's start then, guys. Oh, by the way, I found some hilarious comments in the beginning before I came online. So Hindu Vichardhara ma'am was saying, "Dada, Ullu Prajati se ho kya aap anyways?" But yeah, this was our original timing for doing live streams. And Nandish said something hilarious. Nandish was saying, "ये रात को मतलब in the night time he does not like to listen to Bengal politics stuff. It gives him sleepless nights." Yeah, let's start now. So, consolidating a political dynasty, Abhishek Banerjee, the Trinamool Congress, and the 2023 Panchayat elections in West Bengal. Ritanjan Das and Kenneth Nielsen to cite this article do this. This is from Routledge, Contemporary South Asia, Routledge, Taylor and Francis Group. Okay. So the abstract says, in this viewpoint article, we analyze the consolidation of Abhishek Banerjee as the future leader of the Trinamool Congress. So, so the consolidation has happened, guys, according to Ritanjan Das and Kenneth Nielsen as well. People might debate it in West Bengal, but what do they know? At least people in Norway think, academics in Norway think that it's a final decision. There has been a consolidation. As the future leader of the Trinamool Congress, the dominant political party in West Bengal and one of the most influential opposition parties at the pan-Indian level. Most influential opposition parties. Fair enough. While the TMC has gone from strength to strength for over a decade under the leadership of Mamata Banerjee, who is also Abhishek's aunt, it has recently found itself in an unprecedented crisis, mired in allegations of corruption and misgovernance. Yet, every crisis presents new opportunities. And in this contribution, we show how the TMC has worked to simultaneously rejuvenate the party's orientation while taking forward a long unfolding project of political dynasticism, whereby the quote unquote nephew Abhishek is being positioned to take over the party leadership. Our analysis proceeds from an overview of the crises that have engulfed the TMC to a discussion of how it has been used as a window of opportunity for raising Abhishek's standing. Towards this end, we focus on a series of recent party initiatives, particularly a mass outreach program called Nobo Joar, New Wave, as well as the recent 2023 Panchayat elections, where Abhishek played a key role in securing a landslide victory for the TMC. Hmm. Oh, so Abhishek played a key role in the 2023 Panchayat. Yeah, yeah, fair enough. So, Leiden Institute, Department of Social Anthropology. Okay. Introduction. In this point of view article, we analyze, okay, the entire paragraph is there again. Dynasticism, yeah, we read all this in the abstract already. Our analysis proceeds from an overview of the crisis. Okay, ho gaya pura. Towards this end, meaning with this goal, we focus specifically on a series of recent party initiatives, particularly okay, ये पूरा का पूरा abstract फिर से है. In thinking about political dynasticism and dynastic succession, we are inspired by Kanchan Chandra's 2016 seminal anthology on India's democratic dynasties, quote unquote democratic dynasties. Unlike the royal dynasties of old, the dynasties that currently dot the Indian political landscape are, Chandra argues, created and continuously renewed through the democratic process and depend on regular electoral endorsement by voters. There's no corruption in these things. These are absolutely organic and absolutely fair ways of carrying on your dynasty, according to this academic. A political dynasty in the context of competitive democratic politics is thus never an achieved state of affairs, but rather an ongoing political project and process. The term, quote unquote, dynastic politics, according to Chandra, captures precisely this temporal quality of dynasties as always in the making. Yet, while Chandra and colleagues are in practice mainly focused on identifying the institutional and structural causes of political dynasticism and on explaining it as a democratic phenomenon, our analysis in this article is more firmly attuned to the processual nature of dynasticism as a political project unfolding over time. Indeed, the rise of Abhishek Banerjee as the first heir, quote unquote, heir within the TMC we suggest, fruitfully be understood as a, so it will be fruitful if we understand it this way, that it's a process of dynasticization whereby the TMC, that has throughout its history been dominated by one supreme leader, is gradually transformed into a dynastic formation. We return to this proposition in our conclusion, where we also assess the implications of Abhishek's rise for the TMC and for West Bengal politics. A party in crisis. The TMC has appeared almost invincible at the hustings since it first came to power in West Bengal in 2011 in the wake of the explosive land conflicts in Shingur and Nondigram that eroded popular support for the left parties that had hitherto dominated state politics. It has decisively won a string of elections across state, panchayat, and municipal levels, and most spectacularly and convincingly fought off the challenge posed by a resurgent and well funded BJP at the 2019 national elections. Despite this impressive track record, however, the TMC found itself in a serious political quandary midway through its third successive term. Not before that. Before that, it was all great. Midway, it's through its third successive term, it faced some problems, according to Norwegian social anthropologist. Contrary to its leader Mamata Banerjee's austere lifestyle and clean public image, the party has over the past few years been battered by a seemingly unending series of corruption charges. This has ranged from a much publicized school service commission recruitment scam to malpractices in the rural housing scheme Gramin Awas Yojana, as well as coal and cattle smuggling cases. Notwithstanding the TMC's claims of merely being a victim of a politically motivated deployment of the central probe agencies at the behest of the BJP central government, a common tactic deployed by the current dispensation, according to Christoph Jaffrolo. It's a common tactic. It's a common tactic according to him. No one has done this before. It's a common tactic deployed by only the current dispensation. The adverse findings of these agencies in several cases, the Kolkata High Court's regular rebukes, and the arrest of several high-profile TMC leaders and even ministers, effectively created a serious perception crisis for the party during 2022-23. The expectation that the TMC would face yet another existential do or die challenge from BJP on its home turf at the 2024 national elections further intensified the crisis. Admittedly, finding an Indian political party battling corruption charges and associated image problems is nothing new. Oh, it's not nothing new, finally. Yet, what stands out in the case of the TMC is the way in which it has used this crisis as a window of opportunity for reworking the party's functioning and leadership. No one has done this before in India, according to Kenneth Nielsen. On the one hand, the TMC has responded in quite innovative ways through a new governance initiative, through new government initiatives, initiatives that stress participation, transparency, good governance, and outreach. On the other hand, by allowing Abhishek to spearhead this transformation of the party, the TMC has also used the crisis to further a project of political dynasticism that sees Abhishek cementing his position as the undisputed second in command through, as we substantiate below, his deft handling of the party's image crisis and the 2023 Panchayat elections. Abhishek Banerjee, quote unquote, the nephew. I think it's a very nice name for a movie on Abhishek Banerjee. Abhishek Banerjee, the nephew. And Abhishek Banerjee too, the nephew returns. Abhishek is the son of Amit Banerjee, one of Mamta's six brothers. His mother Lata Banerjee has been Mamta's trusted aide for years, which somewhat explains the close bond between aunt and nephew. Despite her reportedly strained relationship with the rest of her family, Abhishek is in his late 30s, highly educated, and made his foray into politics in 2011 as the unofficial head of the TMC's cyber unit. Now, a process which is so democratic and flourishing is not like a royal dynasty. As an example of that dynasticism, he's bringing up Abhishek Banerjee, who was something called, according to him, according to this scholar himself, that he was the unofficial head of the TMC's cyber unit. How can someone be an unofficial head of a democratic, transparent political party, no matter what the unit of the political party? His rise and consolidation in the TMC ranks has been swift. Abhishek made his first quote unquote political appearance at the TMC's annual Martyrs' Day commemorations in July 2011, where he was introduced as the national president of All India Trinamool Jubo, a new organization set up at Mamata's behest, largely to provide Abhishek with a stable political platform. Coalescing a support base in the next 3 years, Abhishek contested and won the 2014 national elections. The same year, Abhishek's Trinamool Jubo, isn't it called Jubo Trinamool? So Trinamool, I guess the official name is Trinamool Yuva, merged with the TMC's other youth organization, with him at the helm, thereby making him the party's definitive youth face. Only 7 years into his political life, as Mamta was seemingly turning her attention to the national stage in 2018, there were murmurs about Abhishek as a potential chief minister, despite the presence of many other senior leaders in the TMC. The former minister and the current MLA Madan Mitra, for example, called Abhishek the face of, quote unquote, the face of the youth of Bengal. And, quote unquote, today's leader, tomorrow's hope. Ajke neta kalker asha. Earlier in her career, Mamta had often taken a clear stance against dynastic politics. But in March 2019, after years of restraint, she finally endorsed her nephew, saying, quote, I have to prepare one more generation of politicians. I brought a family member into politics knowingly. Remember, a day will come when the current generation will have to hand over the baton. That is why the youth are brought in. And not just any youth, my own nephew. Abhishek was re-elected as an MP in 2019, but his image was dented somewhat as the BJP managed to sweep several districts where he was in charge of campaigning. However, in the 2021 state elections, he emerged as TMC's most influential campaigner, second only to Mamta, and was instrumental in the party's resounding victory. Of course, without any violence and bloodshed. Of course, it was a very, very peaceful election. Nobody died. Abhishek's rising prominence was also evident in the BJP's campaign strategy that targeted him squarely. From the Prime Minister to district level leaders, no BJP politician would complete a speech without lambasting the quote unquote nephew, Bhaipo. Abhishek, however, countered these allegations boisterously to emerge as the clear second in command. He conducted numerous rallies across the state where, quote unquote, hundreds of banners and posters with Abhishek's picture could be spotted along roads and even at party offices. Oh my god. End quote. Bolstered by Mamta's public approval and his own electoral successes, Abhishek is now frequently described by party insiders as the quote unquote de facto state chief minister. I think this is a fair, let's say, fair description. And the quote unquote, the one to carry the mantle. Fair enough. In June 2021, he was promoted to TMC National General Secretary, the party's second most important post. Crisis management and TMC's new wave. I have grown up so much from researching new wave British heavy metal to new wave Trinamool Congress. Abhishek has been at the forefront in handling the TMC's recent crisis, even more so than Mamta, as the weight of anti-incumbency and the issue of losing public trust started to assume center stage from early 2022. After a very peaceful 2021 election, Abhishek launched a public helpline in his constituency named Ak Dake Abhishek, Abhishek on Call, promising immediate redressal of any grievance, bypassing bureaucratic hurdles. You know, these bureaucrats, these IA, WBCS babus, we are in favor of the free market and capitalism and direct customer care services and stuff. There was one such website run by Mamata Banerjee also. It was called Didi Ke Bolo. Albeit a modest step, posters claiming that a quote-unquote new and reformed TMC will come into being in 6 months were put up almost in sync. Tellingly, none of the posters had Mamta's photographs but carried only Abhishek's image, clearly conveying that he would be the one to deliver a quote-unquote new and reformed party. That this quote-unquote reformed party would ostensibly confront corruption allegations more rigorously was communicated soon after when Abhishek, speaking at TMC's annual Martyrs' Day rally on 21st July, commented on the arrest and subsequent expulsion of Partho Chatterjee, until then a key party leader and state minister, on graft charges. Quote, if you want to be a part of the Trinamool Congress, you have to respect party discipline. If you join the party for vested interests, you have no space here. The party will not give tickets to those who indulge in corruption. End quote. In addition to thus reiterating his reform mission towards making the Trinamool Congress clean and corruption free, Abhishek in one stroke also decisively distanced himself from his predecessor as party general secretary, a post that the influential Partho Chatterjee, a key member of the old guard, had held for almost a quarter of a century. Now, these sections I think are very fair. I think we have discussed in our past live streams as well with Mr. Sociologist that this is the plan. Abhishek Banerjee will basically be the Buddhadev Bhattacharya, I think, the equivalent of Buddhadev Bhattacharya in Trinamool Congress, because Jyoti Basu was mired in, let's say, uh, accusation, not really accusations, but he was facing a lot of heat and hatred and stuff. Buddhadev Bhattacharya was a fresh face, a non-corrupt face who would, let's say, would give you more hope about the state. Abhishek Banerjee is going to be that same guy. I would not be surprised if he becomes a chief minister and brings in a lot of investments in the first few years. How he does that is a different question, because the way the structural corruption has taken root in West Bengal, that's a different story altogether. Because the point with the main problem with investments is that it needs a squeaky clean, at least squeaky-ish, cleanish area. I mean, let's say land, state to operate in. You can't have tolabaji, hafta vasuli. You can't have land acquisition problems. You can't have strikes every day, and you can't have everyone bypassing your business profits with some ways, in some with some black money or the other. So though the people on whom mainly people say Trinamool Congress depends on. So in such a situation, how is investment going to be brought in? But he's surely going to try, and we have discussed this earlier as well, that he is trying to uh, formulate a different kind of an image, a different West Bengal, a different Trinamool Congress with different hopes and stuff. I think it's happening with Mamta Banerjee's consent. Other people disagree with me and think that it's happening without her consent. But I think these parts of the paper are very fair, correctly identifying this event as a key moment with regards to party leadership and orientation. The Hindustan Times quoted a senior TMC state leader saying that, quote, Abhishek had been telling TMC workers that the party would get rid of corrupt leaders in 6 months, end quote, adding that Abhishek had, quote, told district office bearers at closed door meetings that nomination for the 2023 Panchayat polls would be given only to people with a clean image, end quote, concluding that the, quote, the purge has started, end quote. Abhishek's purge cum reform mission intensified as the 2023 Panchayat elections drew nearer. He issued strict rebukes to Panchayat Pradhans, leaders. You know, the rebukes are done regularly by Mamata Banerjee as well, to some babus and stuff in front of the camera. So he issued strict rebukes to Panchayat Pradhans, leaders who were unpopular in their localities or faced corruption allegations, warning them that tickets may be denied. In well publicized, orchestrated moves where he visited a tribal village and interacted with families, he publicly pulled up the Pradhans for neglecting duty and even ordered a few to immediately resign. Okay, fair enough. The scholar is actually saying that these were orchestrated. Well publicized, orchestrated moves. Interesting. Complaints against these Pradhans were reportedly received on his Act Dake Abhishek helpline. In a more concerted effort at public outreach, the TMC launched a 60-day program in January 2023 where party workers and leaders from all levels were said to be engaged. The program was named Didi Shurokha Kavach, Didi's Protection Amulet, and included the Play Store app Didi Doot, Didi's Emissary. It promised an all inclusive mechanism to offer the people a platform to address their grievances and help them access the state's flagship social welfare schemes. Abhishek launched the campaign alongside Mamta, saying, quote, around 350 state-level leaders and workers will reach people's houses, understand their problems and resolve them. 5 teams will visit 5 houses each for 10 days. They will also visit local government offices and local panchayat leaders. The party leaders and workers will stay a day, have meals with the residents of the area, connect with people, and spend the night at their houses. There will also be small local level meetings and meets with local doctors, teachers, and others from cross sections of the society. And when this was launched, these reforms were launched. I had posted this on my community tab saying, "See, this is why Trinamool is going to win the 2024 elections as well." I later disagreed with myself, of course, and I was proven right on the first instance. But anyway, just to take a break here, note the tone of the paper. That's one of the main points of today's discussion. That it's being fair, it's not being fair sometimes. Of course, no scholar we have ever discussed, according to us, has been fair all the time in everything they say. Right? We can't agree with everything. But look at the general tone of the paper. Uh, a social anthropologist sitting in Norway writing these things about a national leader of opposition and one significant upcoming chief minister in a state, and then compare that with some other political parties and leaders. They discuss the scholars in academia in social science, both inside India and outside India. What's the tone in that case? Remember terms like made up, grammatically flawed terms like authoritarian populism, electoral autocracy, and stuff. In April 2023, a few months before the Panchayat elections, the TMC embarked on yet another reforms and outreach program called Novo Joaria. This was the one I had talked about. The new tide or new wave, evidently stressing change and new beginnings. Okay, this is an English version of Jago Bangla. I have to take a break and sip some tea. I can't take this at all at one go. This is like a compilation of all Jago Bangla articles and all my Ramul supporting friends, their Facebook statuses. This is a nice compilation to have. We all like compilations, no? I think we'll be fair to the Viking descendant sociologist here and say that yes, this is a good compilation. We like compilation CDs, compilation albums, compilation, like we like different universes coming together in a Marvel movie, etc. So this is like that. This is like an Imran Hashmi collection of songs, that all of Imran Hashmi's movie songs will be in one cassette. It's like that. This is a good thing. No hate, bro. No hate towards Vikings. So the Nobojuar outreach promises to quote unquote usher in a new wave of progress and development at the grassroots by identifying the right set of public representatives through a first of its kind democratic and decentralized process. First of its kind, guys. It's never been heard before. Things like democracy and decentralization. So the first of its kind democratic and decentralized process, taking into cognizance the opinion of the people. As a part of the campaign, Abhishek conducted a 2-month-long Janosangjog Jatra, People's Contact March, to visit every district in the state. Abhishek's Jatra came shortly after Rahul Gandhi's popular Bharat Jodo Yatra and tellingly covered a distance that was virtually identical to Gandhi's, around 3,500 kilometers. Abhishek has described Nobojoar as aiming to rise, quote unquote, above selfish interests and working in the interests of the people. Instead of engaging in divisive politics, Nobojoar stands for unifying Bengal, promoting communal harmony, and delivering welfare benefits to people's doorsteps. So, ask not what the West Bengal government can do for you, ask what you can do for the West Bengal government. During the course of the Jatra, Abhishek oversaw the candidate selection for the Panchayat elections through a digital initiative titled Gram Banglar Matamat, Rural Bengal's Opinion. Described by the TMC as an quote unquote unprecedented, first of its kind referendum exercise to identify the right set of candidates for the upcoming panchayat elections. Party members and quote unquote influencers could cast their vote through a secret ballot to recommend their preferred candidate. When the Navajoar Jatra came to an end, Abhishek summed up his experience thus, quote, "These last 60 days have been a revelation for me, personally. I have stayed with people throughout. When I began this campaign, my critics in the opposition had said I won't be able to be on the road for 6 days, let alone 60. But I have proven them wrong. Not even for a day have I gone back to Kolkata." Oh, this is a subtle dig at Rahul Gandhi. Our opposition doesn't realize the more you hit iron, it becomes stronger. Political analysts and party insiders shared this positive assessment of the Yatra, stressing how Abhishek would earlier, quote, only go to the districts for big meetings but operate from Kolkata. In these 60 days, he must have realized the strengths and weaknesses of his party and the opposition, end quote. They emphasized that his quote unquote public connect had helped develop his image and had done much to change the party's association with corruption and violence. Mamta also, yeah, because people were absolutely convinced after Abhishek's Jatra that Trinamool Congress is not, in fact, a corrupt party and not a violent party. And especially because the 2021 polls were completely peaceful. Mamta also expressed her approval, stressing the need for letting the younger generation come forward while also ensuring respect for senior leaders. The Panchayat elections. After months of speculation, the dates for the Panchayat elections were finally announced in early June, at a time when Abhishek's Navajoar Jatra was in full swing. An important legacy of the latter years of the rule of the left parties has been the centrality of physical strength and violence, or the threat thereof, to rural politics and the control of territory as the foundation of political power in rural areas. This has often rendered Panchayat elections an intensely violent affair, and despite Abhishek's repeated proclamation during his Navajoar Yatra that this year's election would be different in this regard, the 2023 elections were in fact no different. Okay, it was violent according to our Viking descendant social scientist. During the short window for nomination filing from 9 to 15 June, intense violence was reported from several parts of the state, involving beatings, bombs, bullets, and arrows. You see, this is way better than having an authoritarian populist government. All you have to face is from 9th June to 15th June, face some violence, and the rest of the days of the years, you don't have to face any authoritarian populism. I think this is a better choice. Violence took place between supporters of different parties, but reportedly also between different factions within the same party, as local party leaders sought to outmaneuver each other in the fierce competition for the quote unquote party ticket. Several party workers from across parties were killed. But it's not authoritarian populism. Where things were different, at least compared to the previous Panchayat election in 2018, was that the number of seats the party in power could win uncontested came down dramatically. Uncontested winning went down. I think this severely hampers our chances of keeping authoritarian populism at bay. In 2018, the TMC had won one third of all seats uncontested, as the fear of violence led many opposition candidates to either not file a nomination, or if they had, to withdraw it again. But remember, it's not authoritarian populism. This year, close to 250,000 candidates filed their nomination for the 74,000 seats for which elections were to take place, indicating increased competition and lending some credence to Abhishek's repeated claims that genuinely free and fair elections were part and parcel of his quote unquote new wave. The nomination period, however, also exposed the limits of Abhishek's grassroots approach to candidate selection. When the nomination period ended, nearly 12,000 quote unquote rebel TMC politicians had filed nominations as independents, despite multiple warnings by Abhishek during his yatra to maintain party loyalty. Well, some people on the side of those authoritarian populists say that these independent candidates are deliberately propped up by people who absolutely oppose authoritarian populism to take away votes from authoritarian populist parties. Uh, so in the end, you'll see that people who did not want to maybe vote for the anti-authoritarian populist party but were not really sure of the deliberately, overtly authoritarian populist party. So they vote for someone else and then they rejoin the anti authoritarian populist party later on. So when the nomination period ended, nearly 12,000 rebel TMC politicians had filed nominations as independents despite multiple warnings by Abhishek during his yatra to maintain party loyalty. In other cases, disgruntled TMC politicians defected with their supporters to other parties. Most of the rebel candidates were believed to be outgoing incumbents who had been denied tickets to contest anew. In response, the Trinamool Congress leadership immediately formed a 50-member team to travel the state to convince the rebels through offers of various organizational posts or outright threats of permanent expulsion. Nothing else, just these two things, to withdraw their nomination. But this appeared to have made little impact. When the deadline for withdrawing nominations passed, less than 700 independents had left the race. Yet neither the widespread infighting nor the talk of quote unquote crisis would hurt the TMC's electoral performance. It won the Panchayat elections by a landslide, recording its highest ever vote share in any election of 51.14%, winning control of all Jila Parishads, 92% of Panchayat Shomitis, and 79% of Gram Panchayats. The main opposition, the BJP, came a distant second with a 22.88% vote share, while the alliance of the left, the Congress, and the Indian Secular Front came a not too distant third with 20.98% of the votes, indicating a shift from the BJP's support base to the latter. While the Trinamool Congress's success was and it had nothing to do with the very peaceful 2021 elections, of course. While the Trinamool Congress's success was arguably boosted by significant electoral violence, success was boosted by significant electoral violence. More than 50 people were killed, including 21 people on poll day itself. There is no denying that the election produced, in all respects, an almost clean sweep for the Trinamool. What, what are we supposed to react to this sentence? We don't have liberal privilege. We don't have mainstream life privilege. We don't have netas in our speed dial. 200 people are not going to come to protect us at one phone call. So, listen to this sentence. While the Trinamool Congress's success was arguably boosted by significant electoral violence, since it opposes authoritarian populism, more than 50 people were killed, including 21 people on poll day itself for a fucking panchayat election after the very peaceful 2021 elections. There is no denying that the election produced, in all respects, an almost clean sweep for the Trinamool Congress. Describing the results as a quote unquote roaring mandate, Abhishek thanked the electorate for quote unquote all the love and said that the spectacular win would pave the way for the party's performance in the 2024 national elections. Conclusion: consolidating a dynasty. Oh, this should be the caption to Abhishek's movie, Abhishek, the nephew, consolidating a dynasty. In this article, we have traced the increasing consolidation of Abhishek Banerjee as the undisputed future leader of the Trinamool Congress, using the widespread discourse of the Trinamool Congress as a quote-unquote party in crisis as a moment of political jiu-jitsu, where the opponent's energy is used against them. Abhishek and the TMC have, over the past few years, embarked on a project of political rejuvenation that seeks to simultaneously reinvigorate the party, clean up its image by killing only 50 people on the during a panchayat poll and killing 21 people on poll day, and of course doing a very peaceful 2021 election, assembly election, develop new modes of governance, enhance its popular connect, and carry forth dynastic succession by projecting Abhishek as something more than merely the quote-unquote nephew of the party founder, but rather as a capable, powerful, and popular leader in his own right. The crackdowns on corruption, new outreach programs, the Nobojoar, and the election campaign have all worked towards these ends and arguably display a degree of innovation in terms of contents, governance thinking, and political communication. But crucially, they have all been closely identified with Abhishek and have been as much concerned with projecting him as a future leader with a mass base as they have been about improved governance. So, improved governance plus mass leader plus anti authoritarian populism is equal to 21 deaths on poll day of a panchayat election. The consolidation of Abhishek in effect marks, we argue, the dynasticization of the Trinamool Congress. That is the. But remember, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. They have Viking descendant sociologist has said beforehand only that this is not a bad thing. These things happen with a lot of transparency and democracy. This is not like the olden days of those evil patriarchal Hindu kings. The consolidation of Abhishek in effect marks, we argue, the dynasticization of the Trinamool Congress, that is, the transformation of the party from a one woman enterprise to one where the leader's relatives hold positions of real power now and in future, but of course, democratically. The dynasticization is, on the one hand, a perilous project that comes with a price. As the quote unquote new wave paves the way for Abhishek, it also washes away the old, sacrificing select party leaders of the old guard just by something called Naroda, powerful in their own right and potentially vengeful on the altar of the anti corruption campaign. But on the other hand, the reward is considerable as it helps prepare the ground for a smoother transition to a new leadership rooted in family ties. Family ties, where have we heard this before? Clan, birth based stuff. Sounds familiar. Family ties, when the day comes when the original party supremo is no longer around, thereby enabling the reproduction of the party and the wider networks of power, patronage, and influence that it holds together. Taking the temporal, processual qualities of dynasticization and political dynasticism seriously, the analysis in this article therefore also suggests that political domains such as party driven anti corruption campaigns, mass outreach programs, political yatras, and election campaigns rather than merely election results, those useless things like election results and stuff, may, in methodological terms, be privileged sites for studying and understanding the evolving dynamics and rhythms of political dynasticism. In turn, such an approach can be instrumental in exploring the dynasticization process in other Indian states and elsewhere in the subcontinent, shifting the analytical gaze from the much discussed national level dynasties such as the Gandhis to political dynasties thriving locally or regionally across states, districts, regions, or even single constituencies. As we have shown, Abhishek seems to be succeeding in both rebranding the party and in taking forward the dynasticization of the Trinamool Congress by doing 2021 elections very peacefully and making sure only not more than 50 people die during the panchayat elections of 2023, 21 on poll day. There are important caveats, of course. Caveats in Abhishek's path. How can that happen? Let me have a sip of tea before this. I am, of course, having a bad day for I think making some mild criticism of our Viking descendant social scientists because a bit of tea fell on my t-shirt right now. I have to wipe this fucking thing. So, caveat. Where did the caveat go? See, the caveat already disappeared. Yeah. So there are important caveats, of course. Despite Abhishek's rhetoric about clean politics and fair elections, the recent scale of electoral violence and allegations of electoral malpractices, only to prevent authoritarian populism, of course, appear rather more as political business as usual. So too do the intra-party fallouts over nominations. Furthermore, the assessment of to what extent campaigns such as Nobo Jowar have directly influenced the electorate also remains limited at best. For example, while the Trinamool Congress has won resounding victories in most constituencies that the campaign covered, it has also failed to do so in places such as East Midnapur. Yet, given the success of the panchayat elections, there is little doubt that Abhishek has succeeded in delivering the political goods while also furthering the dynastic project. He has managed to create a more accessible image and has positioned himself as capable of taking on the BJP, repeatedly attacking the central government on issues ranging from the non-payment of state dues to communal polarization. Abhishek is now firmly poised to play a critical role in the upcoming 2024 national elections that he did, and the 2026 state elections, when I think he will become chief minister, not only as Trinamool Congress's general secretary, but as the face of a resurgent TMC and a potential future chief minister of West Bengal. Oh no, you don't say. Of course, Viking descendant has confirmed that he is the next face. Everyone agrees in the world, in the West. They are ready. They are getting their bodies ready. We will have to get our economy will have to get its butthole ready, of course. The two converging processes described in this piece, one of rebranding the party and the other of consolidating the dynasty, will be central to such developments in ways that will shape. Oh my god. The two converging processes described in this piece, one of rebranding the party and the other of consolidating the dynasty, will be central to such developments in ways that will shape not just West Bengal politics but also the next decades of Indian politics. Yes. Anything else? Notes. Notes on contributors. Okay, it's their bio basically. Okay, good. This was fun. Holy shit. Let me check out some comments now. There are gems in this paper that is hidden beneath a sea of. I get what you mean. There are stuff there. Well pointed out, well said. And you see, just yesterday, Ninar was asking that no significant people are coming up on the left. You see, they are preparing. They are getting people ready. And imagine that maybe just tomorrow on Nevi Panando in a Bengali panel discussion debate, someone debates whether Trinamool is a good party or not, or Abhishek is doing a good job or not. Someone says that in clear, I mean, elite way of speaking Bengali, says that AJ সমাজ সমাজবিদ্যার অধ্যাপক ওসলো ইউনিভার্সিটিতে কেনেথ বো নিয়েলসেন এই বলেছেন, এই সুখ্যাত করেছেন. So a social scientist from Norway in Oslo has said these good things about Abhishek. That's checkmate, because everyone else in those areas has said that it's authoritarian populism. So you see, academia, Brahmin Bhojan was always necessary, will always be necessary. Gems hidden beneath the Nordic Sea. So let's see anything else in the comment sections. This was a very interesting paper. Kuasan is here getting frustrated. Okay, Kuasan is more frustrated. Nepotism and casteism gets rebranded as hip new trend called family ties. What Hindu kings? I thought we were ruled by, oh yeah, Viking mythology featuring Bengal. Lavish is saying good morning, Lavish. Dada reads us bedtime stories. Yeah, this was definitely a bedtime story. These guys will soon write a paper that will justify. Okay, I can't read any of these comments today. This is a very touch and go subject today. We can't elaborate on these things too much today. But it sounds so. Nina, आओ कभी बंगाल के हवेली में is going to be very very fruitful to quote Oslo University. You know, Norway, foreign university, Oslo. Average in English and Hindi speaking audiences won't buy it. I don't know about Bengalis. See, it depends on what you mean by average English and Hindi speaking audiences. Would they not buy it if it was being said in Times Now, Republic Now, and maybe not Republic Now, but in NDTV and stuff? Because I mean, some people, some sections of India do give a lot of shit about academic credentials. Most people do. Some academics they care about and some they don't, but in general everyone who has some credentials will get extra respect. Of course, that's the entire game of credentials. So I think most people will buy it. As for the Hindi audience, it's not going to be that acceptable, because it's mainly the lower middle classes will be watching it, who can't really spend their time bothering about these things. Yeah, the Dhruv Rathi would be an ideal audience for these things. Bengali pretentious. Yeah, everyone mocks Western stuff in my articles. That's a very very short. Don't agree with here, Dada. What about the English audience? Despite all the propaganda, Norway signed a trade deal with India and is looking at investing $100 billion in India and help Modi government. Yeah, because Authoritarian populism is good for business, I guess. Kolkata is ranked as the 11th fastest growing city in the world by Seville's Growth Hub Index, Indian Express. Very hard to believe. No, no, it's not hard to believe. It's absolutely true. And it's the safest city for women 48 billion years in a row. Now, let me check out some other stuff. Let me show you some other stuff that Mr. Sociologist recommended. Okay. There's another scholar called Atul Kohli, political scientist. Let me show you guys his profile. Half public of, yeah, professor of politics and international affairs at Woodrow Wilson School of Public and International Affairs, Princeton. Princeton. Kohli was promoted to full professor and stuff. Let's see some of his stuff. Community conflict, state and development, root large. Let me see if I can Google and find that article directly. I think you are overestimating the value of credentials in the age of social media. Uh, Now, in terms of large scale mass opinion outside academia, you are right, of course, because otherwise BJP would never win an election in their entire lives. But as for policy formation and narrative, there, of course, credentials matter everything. Otherwise, people would not go around saying that system unka hai, right? So, Atul Kohli. Uh, let's see. Yeah, check out this paper. Ninor, yes, yes, suggest everything. Mail me and stuff. So, check out this paper. This is from 2012. Okay. West Bengal is something of an exception in India's contemporary political landscape, whereas this is by a person called Atul Kohli, okay, from Princeton. West Bengal has been relatively well governed since 1977. Okay, listen to this. Whereas many states have experienced political instability over the past 2 decades, West Bengal has been relatively well governed since 1977. That stability has been remarkable because it has not been the result of low levels of political mobilization. West Bengal probably was India's most politically mobilized and chaotic state in the late 1960s. West Bengal's restoration and maintenance of political order naturally direct our attention to the issue of how growing crisis of governability can be reversed. Places where there are too many protests and stuff, how to quash protests. A small guide to CPIM's rule by Atul Kohli. This chapter traces the roots of West Bengal's recent stability to the fact that a well organized reformist party has remained in power. The Communist Party of India, Marxist, has repeatedly been elected to office in West Bengal since 1977. 78, 79 Modi Jhapi, 1982 English education ban, etc. etc. The party is communist in name only and is essentially social democratic in its ideology, social program, and policies, not authoritarian populist at all. The party's disciplined, effective organization has minimalized the debilitating elite factionalism and the related elite-led mobilization and counter-mobilization so common in some other states. The CPM has also consolidated a coalition of the middle and lower strata by implementing some modest redistributive programs. They redistributed the blood of the refugees to the tigers in Sundarban as well. The systematic incorporation of the poor has reduced the attractiveness of populism. You see, CPIM is so popular in general that they don't even need to do populism. That systematic incorporation of the poor, okay, including them, has reduced the attractiveness of populism and its emphasis on deinstitutionalization. And finally, the CPM has adopted a non threatening approach toward property owning groups whose roles in production and economic growth remain essential for the long term welfare of the state. Ah, what a beautiful article. This is from Cambridge University Press, okay? Who cares what they say? Insane articles. Now let me check some comments again. When was this written? This was written in 2012, M. Shastri. Control. Restoration and maintenance of order. Yes. Well governed. Yes. Bihar is one of the fastest growing state also. Yeah, and I was very happy today to see that Maharashtra has finally taken on UP's challenge of $1 trillion economy. They are saying will be a $1.5 trillion economy, and we are of course going to be the safest state for women for 49 billion years in a row. West Bengal contributed 30% to India's GDP in 1947. Today, West Bengal contributes 5.6%. Spectacular growth. No, that does not matter because we have aloo in our biryani. Baishali is saying, so Niranjan, how is this different from Rachna Banerjee's? This paper is transparent enough in the academy is not at all. Okay, I don't even want to use those evil words, evil populist authoritarian words. That's healthy competition. We should compile these articles and make a video that calls out. नहीं नहीं हाँ करो हमको क्या है ease of business index, yes. Kolkata, okay, so not many. Bengal will be $2 trillion economy, but the catch is it will be in rupees. Oh yeah, $2 trillion in rupees. Yeah, 2 trillion rupees economy. Okay then, maybe Bangladesh rupees, Bangladesh taka. Okay then, let's go offline then. This was a short fun paper. We'll come back tomorrow with another fascinating paper. Dada, I'm glad the paper is over. Thank you for joining, guys. Good night. Bye bye.
श्रवरूढं महाभीमं गुणाद्रष्टाम्बरप्रदम् अस्य युक्तं त्रिनेत्रं च कपालकर्णिकाकरान् मुक्तकेशीं ललज्जयं पिबन्तीं रुधिरं चतुर्बाहु समायुक्तं वराभयकरं स्मरेत् चतुर्बाहु समायुक्तं वराभयकरं स्मरेत् काली काली महाकाली कालिके पापहारिणी धर्मर्थ मोक्षदे देवी नारायणी नमोस्तुते धर्मर्थ मोक्षदे देवी नारायणी नमोस्तुते काली 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 महाकाली कालिके परमेश्वरी सर्वानन्दकरे देवी नारायणी नमोस्तुते सर्वानन्दकरे देवी नारायणी नमोस्तुते सर्वानन्दकरे देवी नारायणी नमोस्तुते
My